Jambo Mambo, familia Angu. Karibu, karibu, karibu. Nyumbani kwangu. Mimi ni Eli-Ben-Eli, Babu Eli. Karibu. Habari yako. I want to welcome each and every one of you to my home and just ruminating about a couple of things. But before we get into that, please like and subscribe to my channel. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. And post a comment. I love it when people comment. I love the discussions and everything. It's very, very nice. It's very enjoyable. You know, well, finally there's good news about what's going on in the Texas Panhandle. Apparently the authorities claim that they are getting a hand on it and a handle on it, and that things are getting better. I don't know if you watch Green Life, something trees, whatever that channel is called. It's a very unusual name, but in the past I have liked that channel, but they posted a video yesterday that fascinated me. It is my theory that in Nyabohansit there are two Mafia families, and when I say Mafia, you know, I'm not really being figurative in what I'm saying. I'm being literal. There are two rival factions in Nyabohansit. One of them, all of them derive from the King of Kings, the Emperor of Emperor, he who walks tall among the corn, he who steps in the river and holds his head in the clouds. Of course, and here I speak of Emperor, Vosi de tutti dono tutti dons, the great and exalted beggar scammer Mara. And of course, there's a breakaway faction of the family, because in a way they still are part of the family. But Fellow and his boys, you know, have a separate rival mafia. And when you call an organization a mafia, the question is, what crime are they committing? Well, what crime do you think Mara and his associates are committing? Quite frankly, the crime that they're committing is that, you know, they have created a market for themselves. They have this juicy community of gullible senior citizens, such as myself, you know, in America, in England. They claim to have received presents from friends. I think that's a lot of baloney. You know, they're claiming to have this international crime. Whenever somebody says, "Oh, I received a present from France," somebody like Diana Kemi, trust me, she managed to scrounge some money together and bought something. And the way to prime the pump is to pretend that other people are investing. I remember a long time ago, I was working at this law firm, and there was a very wealthy man who gave a substantial amount of money, and he justified giving it by saying, "Others have given, so I feel compelled to give too." When you lie and claim that people are showering you with presents, showering you with tippers of hardcore or whatever they call those rocks, you know, others say, "Well, let me help her too." Instead, that's the reality about Diana Kemi is a little. I digress here. Please ride with me. But I looked at a video of Diana Kemi yesterday. They're starting to lay down the foundation for the walls of her what is it that she's calling it? It's not a cottage. It's something else. But the thing is that How does a woman who obviously does not have a bank load of money keep all of these young men, eagerly working and grinning and so happy? Well, first of all, he feeds them. Apparently, that's the custom in Miabo Hanse to feed the muras when the lunchtime comes. But the other thing that I've been noticing about Diana Kemi, yesterday she was exposing her chest, exposing one of her shoulders. She was climbing in and out of the burra, the special burra that pulls water, showing her legs, and she's ultra flirtatious. He's grinning at all of these boys and giggling and everything. And I don't know what else he's doing. I don't know what else he's doing off camera, but apparently Diana Kemi, knows how to use her feminine wiles. But what is the rivalry in between Marwa and Fellow the Boy? The rivalry is very simple. Okay, you have one well that was created in Niabo Hanset, and to his credit, Marwa is the one who created it. He invented the concept of basically swindling and scamming mazungus. He invented the market. And suddenly along comes this young upstart who turns around and begins receiving money on his own. And you remember how furious Marwa was. He was saying, "Why are you donating money to Fellow the Boy when I have a GoFundMe up and running and everything?" That's the essence of the rivalry. You have one guy who is siphoning off money that normally would have gone to Mara, because Mara created the entire scam, the charity scam, pretending that he's helping somebody, and he does help somebody with your money, with money that people donate, but then he turns around and he takes a portion of that money and helps himself, which is exactly what Fellow the Boy has been doing. Well, apparently the poo has hit the fan, because apparently Sir Edwards is not satisfied, and wants Fellow's channel closed, wants Fellow discredited so that he cannot swindle other people. I have a theory as to who Sir Edwards really is. I will not say it because it might be considered slanderous. But who has a vested interest in shutting down Fellow? His rivals. The Fellow Mafia centers around Fellow. Some of them have more subscribers than he does, but Fellow is the one the leader of the whole thing. Fellow is the mastermind behind the coup. I mean, behind the breakaway faction. So I call the group around him the Fellow Mafia. He's the one who has the Green Hands people, Otenga, Zach Senior, or Zach Adventures, whatever it is. And he also has this other guy that I did not know. And you know what tells me that Fellow the Boy is in trouble, has done some things, and is aware of the fact that he's in trouble? They did something very unusual yesterday. They did a joint video in which they were defying and taunting Sir Edwards, telling him to take it to court, blah 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 blah. What dog do those other people have in the hunt? I'll tell you what dog they have in the hunt. They participated in the scam. How do we know that they participated in the scam? The Green Hands people themselves were turned, when they were working on Sir Edward's house. Even a greedy little puppy like Fellow went ahead and discredited them. Didn't discredit them, but basically kicked them out of the project because he concluded that they were being a little too greedy. They were charging too much. But the point is, all of those people had their hand in the cookie jar. Fellow held the lid of the cookie jar open. The rest of them were dipping their hands in and grabbing as many cookies as they could. So if fellow falls, so does Zach Sr., who already allegedly is discredited for having been fired for apparently enjoying the feminine wiles of an underage female. Otenga, pardon me, who has always had a very strange relationship with fellow. Two strong, stiff, stinking young men bedding down together at night. Not a good look. People tell me, oh, well, you're so cynical. People don't think like that in Kenya. Oh, okay. So you're telling me that there are no gentlemen who prefer the society of other gentlemen in Kenya. Oh no, that's only the mazungus who do that. Get a grip. I mean, fellow always talks about marriage. Honestly, do you see fellow marrying a woman? I think fellow might, in my opinion, of course, you look at him and at times you wonder whether he wants to be a woman. But anyway, let's not go there. The point is that these two rival mafias are going at each other. I want you to consider something, okay? Imagine that you have a friend in America who has a certain amount of money, has a certain amount of power. Are you all familiar with what a straw man? What is a straw man? A straw man is one person who acts as a front for somebody else. It's like, I believe that Fellow the Boy has been a thorn in the side of the Marwa Mafia ever since back to the Mama Ann project when he built the well and the water catchment and all. Pardon me, they call it a borehole. When he did all of that, he's been a thorn to Marwa. Correct me if I'm wrong. He did the water catchment, and I believe he dug the borehole or had the borehole dug. But anyway, what better way to discredit him? Create a bogus character by the name of Sir Edwards. There are no sirs in America. There are no sirs even in Canada. It's a completely bogus name. Now we're being told that his name is Lili or whatever. The point is that I don't really, fellow in the boys, fellow in his gang are taunting him, saying, show your face, let us know who you are. I've been saying that. Not because I'm defending Fellow the Boy. I think Fellow the Boy is Robin Hood. He steals from the rich and gives a little to the poor and keeps the rest. Kind of like a Robin Hood. But they're taunting him and saying all of these things. I believe that if you stop and think about it from a practical point of view, who stands to benefit if Fellow the Boy is destroyed and his channel is closed down? First of all, if Fellow falls, Otenga falls, Zach falls, Green Hand falls, Joseph the Mason falls. Joseph the Mason is basically Fellow's chief mason or chief flunky in construction, but he's now becoming a power unto himself. If Fellow the Boy is discredited, they will be seen as branches from the fruit of a branches of a poisonous tree. All of them will be discredited. Nobody will trust any of them. Now, as it happens, green hands, they have a gardening and plant and tree business, so they'll survive. Zach has a shop, he'll survive. But Otenga, Joseph the Mason, not so much. So the point is that who stands to benefit from the destruction of the Fellow the Boy Mafia family? Obviously, the the Marwa Mafia family stands to gain. How do they stand to gain? Well, if Fellow the Boy goes down, suddenly Marwa will be the most important alternative to Fellow. He'll be the only game in town. which means that he'll be getting more donations. And the fact that fellow is destroyed, but he will still be standing, will give him added credibility. So, the sheep, the lemmings, and I said the word lemmings. Are you aware of what a lemming is? A lemming is a small animal that exists as part of a larger group. And allegedly, lemmings have been known in the act of following the other lemmings to walk off the edge of the cliff to their death. The lemmings that are out there will take their hard-earned money, and instead of donating it to people in their own countries who are in need, they'll send it to a scammer, and that scammer will not be Fellow the Boy. I'll leave it to you to conclude who it is who will be receiving that money. Bear in mind that in America, people have this image of America as being a place with gold just lying on the street. America is a struggling country. The Texas Panhandle is turning into a community of ghost towns. This is what nobody's selling you. Yes, it's burning, but a lot of those houses that are burning are empty houses. People cannot sustain themselves living in the Panhandle, so they abandon their house and move to other places. And in all of the major cities of America, you have a sizable population of people that are living in the streets, that are eating food from soup kitchens, and it's a nightmare, and I pray for them. It's a terrible thing. But the point is that America has a great disparity of wealth. The middle class in America is a dying and vanishing class. You have very wealthy people, and you have the rest of us. Okay, and so when one of these people, a upper middle class person, has enough money to give and chooses to donate it to a land-rich scammer who's traveling around the world, who is probably a NSIS agent, instead of helping their own community, they're basically making the hell that America is turning into even worse. Because the more desperate that people get, the more likely they are to commit crimes, the more likely they are to be violent. By the way, I want to return to the topic of Mara and the NSIS. And please bear with me on this topic. It's something that fascinates me. Please, I want you to think back to the time of the party, the 30 days during which Mara threw his party. Do you remember that the local constabulary, the local police, went ahead and gratis, free of charge, for a period of time provided Mara with security at his home? Think about it. In most Western cultures, even in most African cultures, if you're doing nothing but riding down the road and you get stopped by the police, they're going to be looking for a little hashish or shishi. Okay, they're going to be looking for a little bit of money. And you better give it to them, because if you don't, they're going to make your life a nightmare. Whoever heard of the police going to a private party, going to a private individual and saying, we'll provide you with free security? Who does that? Think about it. Who does that? There are a couple of ways that you can look at it. The police are aware of the fact that if Mara makes money, he's going to give them a little. Have you seen the way that he acts? He's very chummy with the police. I believe that they think that if Mara is making money, they're going to be making money. That's number one. Number two, the possibilities are that the police are going to look out for their own, because basically Mara is acting as a front for the police. But anyway, as far as fellow the boy is concerned, it is my theory that we are watching a small shark being eaten by a larger shark. And I'm very sorry about that, because fellow may be a crook, just as crooked as anybody else, but fellow has helped women that he calls widow women. We don't know that those women are widows. All of them have very, very young children. Some of them are breastfeeding their children. And it becomes obvious to me that unless miraculously husbands are dying days before fellow contacts these women, a lot of these women act like if they're doing something with a man to have children. And a lot of them have men that hang around and are never identified, and who look very gruff, and who look like if they're annoyed that their territory is being transgressed upon. I maintain that that's part of the fellow scam. Taking people, having them pretend that they're widows when in fact they're not. Taking that money, doing a certain amount for them. But how did fellow build that house? How did he get that motorcycle? How does he have all of those clothes? How does he have all of those appliances? The chickens, doesn't pass the smell test. My dears, my dear friends, Rafiki Angu, if you have watched this far, Asante Asana, Mungu akubariki. Mungu bless each and every one of you. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, help Babu Eli out. In the meantime, until tomorrow, or whenever Allah allows me to see you again. Kwaheri.